So Krita 4X is kind of getting a little long in the tooth at this point. It's been out for several years without really any major updates available to it since then, and it's been kind of a hellish experience ever since. Krita is not exactly the most well-built program in the world. It does have a number of bugs, especially if you're running on Linux. But that's about to change, because soon, and I mean pretty soon, the Krita 5.0 release will be out. Now, right now it's in beta, and I took a chance, just took a few minutes to kind of take a look through things, look through the release notes, see what it's all about, and oh boy, there is a lot to be excited about the 5.0 release. So today, in today's video, let's take a bit of a 5 things that you should know about Krita 5.0. Let's get into it. This video is sponsored by my entire name change on all of my social media platforms. So yes, if you weren't aware, and I probably should have made an announcement video about this, all about this thing, but you know I'm a small YouTuber, so I have to take what I can get. I've changed the name of my accounts across all my social media platforms. That includes YouTube and Twitter, and at some point Twitch, if I can get them to let me use the name that I want to use. So you can find me under my more normal name, Chris Lee, on Twitter and YouTube. And if you want to follow me on those things, the links to those will be down below. Let's get into this first topic. The first topic we're going to talk about today, list number 1 on this list, is the updated and redesigned resource management system. So in Krita, in comparison to Photoshop and Affinity Designer, well, in comparison to Photoshop, Affinity Designer has something similar. Krita uses what's called a resource system. Now that, in basic terms, all that really means is that you have these brushes or stamp modes that you can use in Krita that can be used with basically any tool you can think of. So it can be used by the brush tools, it can be used by line drawing tools, it can be used by the shape tools, like anything. And these brushes can be affected by that. Now, previously in Krita, the management of it has been kind of poor, admittedly. It's not really the greatest in the world. It's kind of clunky. So in 5.0, the entire system has been redesigned, including the database that controls the whole system. Yes, the entire database is being redesigned with this. We're moving to an SQL-based database rather than the Qt one they had been using before, which, to be honest, you know, KDE has this thing for Qt, but does not really work the greatest in all situations, and I'm glad they're realizing that. So now, with this new updated and redesigned resource management system, you also get a Docker that helps you manage the brushes you have on hand, because, well, if you aren't aware, you can import brush sets from other programs or other packs or whatever into Krita as long as it's a supported format. So being able to manage all of them all together concisely really does help. Now, this is kind of a petty one, but it's also one that I actually kind of like, especially if you're the kind of person who does graphic design in Krita, and that is the instack, or the transform tool rather, now transforms based on instack assets. And what I mean by that is previously in Krita, if you were to use the transform tool and you were to move the object or transform it, any effects or already pretty much any effects you had applied to it either through layer styles or through the effects menu or even through Gmic, they would disappear until you would stop moving the object. Well, now with this new preview system, the entire stack is composited as you're moving it. Now that it composites everything, now everything that you have applied to the object or asset is now visible while it is being adjusted, which is great because previously with it all disappearing, it's kind of hard to get things lined up. So if you're doing something like that's really pinpoint precise, being able to line it up properly with the effects still in view is a big help because, well, really, it's just common sense. And I don't know why this wasn't a thing before. Now, this is another pretty cool one, and this is something that kind of helps you a lot if you're doing digital art, and that is the Isolate Active Group mode. Now, in Krita, an aspect of Krita that's not really talked about a whole lot is the group modes. And Krita has a number of them to help you kind of manage your groups in more effective ways possible. Well, a new one's being active called Isolate Active Mode, or Active Group. And it does exactly what the name implies. It isolates specific sets of groups or parts of a group of an asset or group entirely and keeps it out of view while you work on other stuff. This is really helpful if you have like a lot of layers, especially if like you're doing digital art, which can often involve hundreds of layers at a time. So being able to isolate the ones you don't need and keep them out of the way is a huge help in making sure that you keep things precise and concise. Bit of a rhyme I didn't really intend to make, but okay, I'll roll with it. And number 4 on the list is a big one. This is the biggest one on the list and the one I'm really excited to talk about. The animation screen, like the animation area of Krita, is getting a huge overhaul. There are a number of things that are going to be changing in Krita 5.0 compared to the 4X releases in the animation Docker. And now I know I've made a video on the animation section before, and all of the stuff I'm about to say in here still applies to what you're doing in there. Just some of it improves the workflow a lot better. Some of the things that are being included in the timeline Docker is that the timeline Docker or the animation can be paused at any time. The timeline will adapt when frames are added. This is a gripe I had pretty big time with the original one, where I would add a frame, but the timeline wouldn't adapt or update in relation to that. You can now clone frames in the timeline Docker, which is actually nice because if you're actually working with a project that has a lot of repetitive motions or repetitive frames, being able to clone them and keep them in concise order is real nice. But there's more to it than that, and that involves the curves editor. Now, previously in the curves editor, you can only edit the opacity of an object in a motion tween. Now, I'm going to explain briefly what a motion tween is. If you want more information about this whole process, I do have a video, I'll link it above, about motion tweening. But basically what it is that you specify a start value and end value, and the computer will fill the appropriate space in between. In Krita, you can only, in the curves editor, you can only adjust the opacity of an image or an object or whatever in the curves editor. Well, now in Krita 5.0, that has changed. You are now able to edit the position, rotation, scale, and shear of an object in the curves editor, which is real great because this opens up a ton more possibilities when it comes to using Krita as a motion graphics designing program. Now, it's still not to the level of, say, like, you know, Apple Motion or After Effects, mind you. It's still frame by frame. Its UI is not really, you know, geared towards motion graphics, but this is a step in the direction to make Krita the all-round program. It's capable of so much right now, but with this new updates to the animation section, it makes it so much better. And the last item on this list is Krita gets a bit of a UI refresh. Now, Krita is a program that looks like it could be used by pros. I mean, it's no Final Cut, but it gets the job done. With 5.0, you get a bit of an icon refresh and a UI update. Now, I'm looking at the beta for Krita on an app image. It looks pretty good. The icons look much more clean, more crisp. It looks like they could also be used on a high DPI monitor. Now, keep in mind that this monitor right here is not high DPI. It's literally a $120 monitor I got from Best Buy. So if it looks good on that, then imagine what it looks like on an ultra wide. Yeah. And I mean, same to you too, buddy. The Bluetooth speaker that's telling me, oh, I'm gonna power off now. Every time I do a video, it's like something happens in the background of this godforsaken room. I can never keep clean. I don't know. What's your favorite part of Krita? You know, sound off in the comments below. What's your favorite part of Krita? Are you excited for the 5.0 release? Are you not excited for it for some reason? You know, tell me down below. I'd love to hear about it, and maybe I might do a follow-up video on this. Vintage nudge nudge, wink wink. If you liked this video, then consider giving a like, and if you didn't, well, whatever you do helps me, so thank you. And if you'd like to see more from the channel, considering subscribing to the channel for more and ringing that bell for notifications. I cannot stress that enough. So thank you for joining this video, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you later. Number 3 on the list is actually something that's actually, no, hold on. What? Oh, shit. More work than needed to, apparently. I hate when I do that. Okay, well, sure.